gonna share a story of how I found out that my husband was cheating on me this last time. Now remember, the important part of every story are the details. So when you listen to all the details, you're gonna die. I do have to say that one of the biggest lessons I learned is to always listen to your intuition. It is never wrong. I used to blame the woman he cheated on me with, but I recently came to the realization that it's not her fault. I mean, she knew he was married, but he could have lied to her and said that we were not together. So anyways, my friends invited him to a bachelor party. We've been together for 10 years, so over the years, they obviously became his friends too. And it happened to be the same weekend of my birthday. I encouraged him to go, and I told him that I would also take a trip with my son to go visit my dad for my birthday. The next happened to be my wedding anniversary, and I just woke up feeling really sick. Like, I felt like I needed to throw up. Part 2 of how I found out my husband was cheating on me on our wedding anniversary day. So anyways, I was in Mexico and he was back in the US, and he's an early bird, so it was probably like 8 a.m. in Mexico, 6 a.m. here, and he didn't answer. So I was like, oh, maybe he started from the weekend from the bachelor party. So he wasn't answering. So we are sharing our locations and it shows that he's at home. So I'm like, oh, he's sleeping. So then later on, maybe it was like maybe 2 p.m. or 1 p.m. in Mexico, and I'm still feeling really sick. Probably it was like 11 a.m. here. Still, he wasn't answering my call. So I was like, no, something is going on. Something's weird. So I called my sister. They have a spare key at my mom's house, and I asked her to go to my house to see if something's going on, if David's there. So she gets to my house and his phone is charging in the charging pad. The lights are on. It looked like he had gotten ready maybe to go out, and I was just like, oh, okay, maybe he went out. So while I'm on FaceTime with her, he gets home and he looks like his face. Part 3 of how I found out my husband of 10 years cheated on me. So his location shows that he's home. My sister goes, and while I'm on FaceTime with her trying to figure out why would he leave his phone, he shows up to the house and his face just completely changed. It was the face of somebody that's guilty of something. So I asked him where he was. He said he went to breakfast with his friend and he forgot his phone. I didn't believe it. I was crying by this time, and I told him I felt something was going on, and I was begging him to please tell me the truth. And he just didn't want to talk to me. He just hung up on me, and I couldn't do anything because I was in Mexico and he was. Later on that day, he FaceTimes me and he tells me that he's a piece of shit, crying. So I tell him I didn't think he was a piece of shit. I told him that he was the best dad, the best husband, the best life partner, the best friend, and that the only thing that would make him a piece of shit was if he had cheated on me on my birthday and our wedding anniversary. He hung up on me and didn't want to talk to me anymore. Part 4 of how I found out my husband of 10 years cheated on me. First, I want to thank everybody for the amount of support that I've been receiving. I never thought that I was going to have this much support or that my video was going to blow up. So after he hung up on me, I didn't talk to him for the rest of the night. He picks me up from the airport the next day, and I try to have a conversation about it. He denies the whole thing, and he tells me that he went out and he purposely left his phone at home because he didn't want me to get upset, which was really odd because I really trusted him, and really he was able to do whatever he wanted all the time. So I love this man. I say I don't want to go through what I went through 2 years ago, and I give him the benefit of the doubt. I think I was just in denial. For the next 2 weeks, we were extremely intimate every single day. And if you've been married for a long time, you know that perhaps it's not every day, maybe every other day, 2 times a week, I don't know. I feel like we were overcompensating for something that had happened. And 2 weeks after, he doesn't come home on one night. Part 5 of how I found out my husband of 10 years was cheating on me. What I didn't tell you guys is that I'm very smart. So when my sister and I were on the phone, I figured that he would want to stop sharing his location with me because he left his phone at home. He got caught. So obviously we have our phone accounts together. And I set up an AT&T tracker on his phone. I know people are going to ask me about this, but it's called AT&T Family or something like that. I tell my sister to delete the message confirmation so that he doesn't find out that I'm already tracking him otherwise. So when I come back from Mexico, he tells me that he wants to stop sharing his location because he feels that I don't trust him and I should be able to trust him. So I'm like, okay, that's fine. Little did he know that I was already tracking him. So it's a Sunday night. I'm checking where he's at, and I know that he's already driving on his way home. So I call him and he's like, oh, I'm still at work writing some reports. I'm gonna get off later. I knew it. It was 12 midnight. He was answering my phone calls, my texts. It showed that he was at a location, but it only showed the radius. It didn't show the actual address of the location. So after a while of calling him and texting him, I decided to turn off my phone because I just couldn't deal with it anymore. I don't wake up until like 4 in the morning and I check my phone, I turn it on and I have a message from him saying, "Hey babe, I'm sorry, I fell asleep in my car." So I call him and he tells me that he went to have a drink with his friend, first name, and that he didn't want to drive home like that. So one thing you have to know about him, if you have to know anything about him, is that he's the most responsible man I've ever met. I have nothing bad to say about him. He's responsible to the T. So if that would have been the case, he would have not driven home like that, but he would also have not fallen asleep in his truck. He would have just taken over, especially because he told me he was really close to that area where I was tracking him, that I saw he was at. So he comes home and I slept with him. I had sex with him and I knew this is the first time that I felt that something had changed. Sex was just not the same and I cried. So the next morning, I go through his phone